Okay, I'd like to contrast your relationship with Karen Reed versus your relationships with Jennifer McCabe and Courtney Proctor. You would agree with me, and I think you testified yesterday, that Jennifer McCabe is one of your best friends.
Correct.
And you call her Jen, correct?
Yes.
And Courtney Proctor is also one of your best friends, correct?
She's not one of my best friends, no. She's a good friend. She's not one of my best friends, no. She's my sister's best friend.
Here she is.
You know what? I'm so sick of shit.
Oh, she stole
I'm sick.
Gotcha. Okay, so your sister
My sister Jillian, yes.
Jillian is best friends with Courtney Proctor, and you're close friends with her, but not best friends.
Correct.
Got assaulted again, and his phone was...
I mean, that's why Ryan said that he didn't see John O'Keefe was not in the car or outside the car.
Thank you.
Like, that's why he testified that.
Here. You didn't
So,
know, John. Why
we got that on video, right?
The intention of justice is to see that the guilty people are proven guilty and that the innocent are freed. Only we have a problem here.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the I Don't Belong Here show, and I am your host, Samantha Beningo. I am a behavioral scientist, a career psychotherapist, a 6th-year PhD candidate in clinical psychology, a master's level psychologist and counselor. And today we are talking about the Aidan Kearney case. I want to say officially thank you to Aidan Kearney, because what is very clear to me is that without him, we would never see justice for John O'Keefe. And while I am obviously an enormous supporter of Karen Reed and will go to the depths of wherever I have to and back to defend her, I was never interested in this case because of Karen Reed. I was interested in this case because I wanted to see justice for John O'Keefe. And that is what makes me so outraged. A very good man, a police officer, was murdered, and the group of people who murdered him, which includes 2 police officers or 2 law enforcement agents, Brian Albert and Brian Higgins, first responders, one who was the homeowner, those whose behavior was obviously suspect from the very start. It is not a question whether their behavior was suspect. And we've been through that quite a bit. If you're not familiar, there's 100 videos that you can go take a look at to familiarize yourself with this case. So I want to take a moment to thank Aidan Kearney myself, because without him, we will never see justice for John O'Keefe. Karen Reed would undoubtedly be behind bars. And life, as per usual, would have continued in Canton, Massachusetts, as it always had. Michael Proctor, Yuri Buchanan, Brian Tully, they would all still be comfortably strumming along, just doing what they do in the homicide division at Massachusetts State Police, working for Michael Morrissey. Michael Morrissey would be comfortably celebrating his next term, I'm sure already, a victory that would probably go unanswered. In all likelihood, he wouldn't even have a challenger. And none of us would be the wiser, because that's what life, day in and day out, had been like for these folks up until Turtle Boy. And he's 100% right when he says that the media had no interest in this case, not until he started screaming and yelling about it and saw how many people were behind him.
Holy cow. Okay. We got, if you're over here, please hit up the lemonade stand. There's some nice children over there selling lemonade. It looks delicious. Turtle Riders are helping them out. First of all, I don't know if those kids did this on purpose, but if they did, well done, kids. Yeah. That is entrepreneurial right there. Like, I am going to set up a lemonade stand on the day of the Turtle Boy rolling rally. That is ingenious. God bless those children. Feel free to support them. Hello, hey! What's happening? There we go. All right. So, all right, welcome everybody. We'll let people rolling in here. Like I said, it's going to be difficult because we're in residential areas, but this is the home of conflicted state trooper Michael Proctor. It appears as if does he still? Oh, you notice he's got a turtle crossing thing there. He put that up. Some people thought that a turtle rider put that up, and we're now told that he put that up, and that's kind of speaks to how arrogant he is. That he's almost like mocking us. They do have a private property sign now, which is smart because I've knocked on his door a couple weeks ago, and he's a state trooper, so he knows that if he puts that up, then we cannot step on his property, which is fine. It also appears as if they've taken down the thin blue line flag, which is good because Michael Proctor doesn't care about murdered police officers who sacrificed their lives, and because he covered one up. Now he pretends to, because he arrested and charged a woman that not only is factually innocent, but that he knows is factually innocent, not get justice, but somebody has to go to jail for it, and he had no problem framing an innocent woman, a woman he knew to be innocent, which is why he went to Dighton at 2:30 in the afternoon, because we know from the call logs that he called the Dighton Police Department and asked them to bring a tow, to have her car towed. He said he wasn't even there yet. He says he didn't get there until 4:30, except we have Ring camera footage, which they now claim didn't reset because of daylight savings 3 months after daylight savings happened. And the taillight and the alarm.com footage shows that Cameron Reed's car was towed at 4:12 p.m. 4:12 p.m., which left conflicted detective trooper Michael Proctor with 1 hour and 18 minutes unobstructed with the car. He could do whatever he wanted with it. Instead of bringing it to a state police barracks, which would be the normal thing to do since the state police were in charge of the investigation, he brought it back to Canton Police Department so that it could be closer to the scene of the crime, so we could pull a little Shawshank Redemption and do a little sprinkle of the taillight right where the body was found, and somehow made a fool of the Canton Police Department, who somehow missed all that, and they're okay with that. They're not upset that, oh yeah, this guy's calling you stupid and incompetent.
But this is a big story. And that's the other reason why I have struggled with how to present it to you. Mark Betterow, who is someone I have absolutely adored from the first moment that I ever saw him speak on Melanie Little's live stream, however long ago, a long time ago now. He's the author of the Mega Motion with help from Olivia Lambo and, of course, Timothy Bradel, who is Aidan Kearney's other wonderful attorney. And it is a massive document. And it's got threads and hyperlinks and, redactions. I mean, it is a massive story. So trying to figure out how to present this story in the best way possible has been one hell of a challenge. So I've decided to begin today with this.
You just touch her?
Be a little fucking soft.
She doesn't want you to touch her.
Yeah,
What the fuck's wrong with you?
We had a nice conversation. I just didn't.
Why are you touching her?
I don't know why I'm
Just talking to her.
You just touched her, bro.
Asking her why she's with a fucking loser like you.
Why are you touching her?
She's not a loser.
Such
She's
like
a good
that?
person.
Yeah,
Ask her
I
why
don't think
she's
it's such a loser.
fucking hooking up with like a loser like you.
Like that, get the fuck out of here.
What?
You don't like Canton, no one wants you here. Get the fuck out of here. You fucking loser guy.
Let's go.
You're a loser guy. You and all your fans are
We
big
really
fucking losers.
Thanks.
Guy's a fucking loser. Love the town of Canton so much he has to come hang out here. Get the fuck out of here, dude. You're a fucking loser.
So this is what we came out to.
Hard to know where to start with this. So this lovely character here
Guy.
Let's go.
You're a loser guy. You and all your fans are big fucking losers.
is Sam Nagel. That name may sound familiar to some of you because his brother and sister have appeared as co-stars in the first Karen Reed trial. And of course, Ryan also appeared in the second. We will speak more about them in just a moment. And then this beautiful woman here is Meredith. She is Turtle Boy's girlfriend.
Like that, get the fuck out of here.
What?
This character, as I have already stated, this, of course, is Ryan Nagel.
I was in front of me the whole time.
And so I'll ask the question again, did you ever see that SUV stop at the foot of the driveway?
No, but I did see the brake lights It looked like it moved, but it wasn't. So the brake lights were on, they released them and then stopped again. So it probably moved another car length up.
How many times did you see the brake lights on?
Just once, sir.
The vehicle that you were talking about, where is that in relation to the pickup truck that Ricky's driving?
Well, it was like the SUV wasn't there when my brother was there. It was like before. Like when I was inside, I noticed it. Yeah.
And so at the time that you were talking to your brother in the pickup truck, was the SUV still there?
I don't believe so, no.
Like that, get the fuck out of here. Leave. You don't like Canton, no one wants you here. Get the fuck out of here. Leave. Fucking loser guy. Let's go. You're a loser guy. You know your fans are big fucking losers. Guy's a fucking loser. Love the town of Canton so much, he has to come hang out here.
One thing I will say right off the bat, watching Ryan Nagel and just observing his role in this whole extravaganza, he is a peacemaker. He is intervening to try to cool things down. He does not want to see anything escalate between these guys, and he is trying to bring the temperature down. That is what he is trying to do here. He is non-confrontational. He does not like fighting. For those of you that have never been to Canton, Massachusetts, let me try to explain something that I didn't really know until I was there. C.F. McCarthy's, which is, of course, the establishment or one of the two establishments that Karen and John O'Keefe are at the night before he is murdered.
Events that took place at C.F. McCarthy's. This is surveillance video from one of their cameras within the bar.
So he is murdered sometime between 12 and 1 a.m. the night of January 29th. So the morning going into January 29th. January 28th, Karen and John, around 9 p.m., meet at C.F. McCarthy's after having had a long day of texting back and forth, arguing about the relationship. That is where Aidan and Meredith are walking out of in this video. But importantly, right next to C.F. McCarthy's, okay, the building right next door, they in fact share a wall, is the pizza shop that Chris Albert owns. So seated in this image, which we're going to see more of in a moment, are the McAlberts and co. This character here, that is the lovely Julie Nagel. Let me set up the scene. What has happened here? On their way into C.F. McCarthy's, just before the verdict was out in the first trial. Okay, so this is June of 2024, the end of June, just before the verdict. So they're going in C.F. McCarthy's to eat. On their way in, they, I believe, see Colin Albert. And by the time they come out, these guys, these goons, are all standing in front of the pizza shop, and you see the way Colin is standing in a very defensive posture. Julie is pretending to be on her phone when, of course, she's video recording. Now, to be 100% clear, I have seen this video many times. I remember it when it came out. But something told me the other day, it reappeared somehow on a feed I was on, and something told me to pay closer attention. And so I did. This video turns out to be really interesting and incredibly telling, just so incredibly telling. Okay. Here we go.
Oh, what a deep fucking hit.
All right.
How'd you pay your tax bill?
All right, so we're down here at C.F. McCarthy's. Who are you?
Who am I? You know who the fuck I am? Listen.
Who am I?
All right. So we have clown brother Sam Nagel, Ryan Nagel in the Red Sox shirt. But then in the front, we have a character that is relatively unknown to most of us, and that is Chris Albert Jr. So this is Chris and Julie's oldest son.
Christopher Albert, Albert.
And where do you live, sir?
I live at 22 Maple Street, Unit L, Canton, Mass.
And how long have you lived there?
Almost 2 years. Sorry, go ahead.
And how long have you lived in Canton?
Since 1974.
And so pretty much your whole life.
Pretty much since I was 4.
And
Just, you may want to take a note here at how Chris, his face gets red the moment that he has a strong emotion. So even in this little exchange with Lally at the very beginning of his testimony, he feels like he messed up because he started to elaborate before he was asked the question, and his face turns beet red, and that's important for later.
prior to living in Maple, where did you live in Canton before that?
7 Meadows Ave.
And for those of you who are unaware of the geography of Canton, Massachusetts, here is 7 Meadows. This is where Chris, Julie, Christopher Albert Jr., Colin, and their youngest son lived for many years. And here is 7 Meadows in relationship to 1 Meadows, the home that John O'Keefe bought for his niece and nephew for all them to live in, that Karen Reed was ostensibly living in until John O'Keefe passed away.
And how long did you live at 7 Meadows?
From 2001 to 2021, about 20 years.
And who, if anyone, do you live with now?
I live with my wife, Julie, my oldest son, who just came home from the Navy, my middle son, Colin, and my youngest son, Dylan.
Which one are you? Which one's that?
What? I think he's the older Albert. Chris
The mustache?
Albert Jr., I think, right?
Oh, Albert Jr.? Is that? Oh, gotcha. I didn't. The mustache. You guys seem really intimidated. You guys seem really intimidated. You guys seem really intimidated. And do what? I don't want to scare him. I don't want to intimidate him. I don't want to intimidate him. I don't want to scare you guys. I don't want to scare you guys. I know you guys are really scared of me. I don't want to scare anybody. We're doing this for our own protection. We don't want to be anyone. We don't want to scare you guys.
So for a second there, Colin gets what Turtle Boy is saying. He realizes, like, oh yeah, this may not be in our best interest because we have this, witness harassment charge against Turtle Boy, right? So he turns around and starts to walk away for a second. But then he kind of realizes that nobody else is backing down. And so he comes back forward, comes back into the fold. And I bring that out because there's going to be another time when he does something similar that's really important later. So keep in mind here, Sam Nagel has already been interfacing with Meredith. He was over talking to her. Apparently, she didn't seem threatened by that conversation, but she was being touched by him, which is part of what prompted Aidan to start recording. However, just prior to this, he had been assaulted by another character, an older man, that we don't see on this stream, named Jim Ferris. He had just walked over and slammed the phone out of Turtle Boy's hand when somebody, a fan of his, had come by and asked to take a picture with him. So they were taking a picture. Ferris comes by, knocks the phone out of his hand, and Sam Nagel comes over and starts talking with them. Turtle Boy starts recording, live streaming this in real time. Because he realizes, they're harassing me now and I better get this on film. Now, keep in mind something important. This group in front of D&E Pizza are Chris Albert's kids, predominantly. So you've got older brother Chris, you've got middle son Colin. Colin is standing out in front with his arms crossed, which is a shielding behavior. It's a defensive posture. It's also a display of territory, dominance, aggression. So you've got both sons essentially in full protection mode of the pizza shop. So they're not on offense, right? They're on defense, and that's interesting. Also, keep an eye on Julie Nagel because her behavior throughout this is also pretty telling. It gives us a very clear indication of how close she really is to the Albert family. And that's contrasted with Sarah Levinson. And I don't know if everybody knows the story about Sarah Levinson, but there were reports. She's a nurse. And apparently, people have said that Brian Albert had even been going and parking in the parking lot at the hospital to sort of implicitly intimidate her. She had at one point, I don't know if she explicitly agreed to speak to the defense investigator, but at one point, the defense was scheduled to meet with her. They went to the house and she decides to plead the fifth, essentially, or to not cooperate with them.
No. We're gonna call the police. So if you guys just got here, we got it all on film. I was just assaulted by Jim Farris. He assaulted me, and we got it all on video. And now the McAlberts are down here telling me they're gonna kick my ass or something like that, harassing me, calling me a pussy. We'll see. There's Colin's talking. He's got a lot. I'm glad he's not intimidated at least. So yeah, we got there. I'm surprised to see Ryan down here like this. Yes, he was.
Somebody drives by and randomly screams out, Colin was in the house. How classic is that? You got Colin sitting right there. He turns his head like he didn't hear it.
I didn't say shit. I'm not protesting. I'm just trying to eat a meal. We just went in here. We went in here to CF McCarthy's and we ate dinner, okay? We ate dinner and then all of a sudden we got assaulted by these goons on video. These guys who claim to be so scared. We're just trying to eat. We're just trying to eat a meal of food. Again, this is wild shit, man. Can you believe this is happening, dude? What are they like? This is wild. These guys, they prove me right every single time. Every time, baby. Every time.
They really do.
I hope you're ready to hear the words not guilty, right? Get ready for the words not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty.
So one thing I find really interesting about the behavior of that guy, you'll notice that it's offensive. He's not afraid of them. He's coming towards them. Now, I know he doesn't have any legal beef with Turtle Boy, but what it says to me, because Sam Nagel is exhibiting offensive behavior. He's not afraid. He's going after them. Like he was actually touching Meredith. So it speaks to me that there's an entitlement. There's a feeling of I'm entitled to this because you're in the wrong. But you'll notice not everybody's behaving that way. And pay close attention to who is behaving that way and who is not.
Not guilty. Get used to those words. You're going to hear it this week. Not guilty.
And you
3
see
times you're going to hear that shit. Not guilty.
Right? They're trying to go.
Not guilty.
Not
Get ready.
React.
Get ready. It's coming. So anyway.
Where are the Canton police go?
Yeah, did you call them? Yeah. So they called the cops.
They don't come.
Yeah, they called the cops, I guess. We got it all on video. I got assaulted by Jim Farris. He came up and assaulted me on video. He smelled like shit, too. He smells exactly what you would imagine he smells like. So they're all over here. I don't know. We're just trying to eat dinner. We went in here to eat a nice meal of food.
Walk out on a sidewalk.
Come outside.
I think the fans wanting pictures triggered.
What's up? It's just the McAlberts being assholes again. That's what they do. We're just trying to eat food. I just wanted to eat a meal of food in peace. It was lovely. It was really good. I really liked the dinner here. And I heard the food was good at CF McCarthy, so I wanted to eat the food. I'm not bothering anyone.
Now, if you ever feel like taking a trip to Canton, Chris Albert is in the pizza shop all the time. right? It's his shop. He's in there all the time. It's not like he stays at home all day and has a bunch of kids working in there. He's in there all the time, and he remains in there all the time to this day. So what happened here from the beginning, Aidan, on his way in, sees Colin, and Colin says, "We're calling the cops." Then he goes in, he has dinner, no problems. He comes out. Somebody, a supporter, asks to take a picture of him. And if you've ever spent time in Canton, or like when I was in and around the courthouse in Dedham, as soon as Aidan is visible on the street, he gets swarmed with people wanting to take pictures with him, of course, right? So he's a popular guy in this area. And this is right at the end of the trial, the first trial. So this is like, right, everyone knows who he is and people love him. And of course they do, because most of the people in this town are very pro Karen Reed. Like my sister went through the town, spoke to a lot of the shop owners, the people that were working in these places. And a lot of these folks, in fact, I don't think there was anybody outside of the folks that were in and around Chris Albert's pizza shop that were not very clearly supporters of her. Most of the people that she interfaced with downtown Canton believe that Karen Reed is innocent. Well, which makes sense, because if you have a brain in your head and you saw any of the evidence, you would think that too. Chris, in the front of his pizza shop, though I don't see it in these images, has a big sign that says "Justice for John O'Keefe." Keep that in the back of your mind. Okay.
So I am filming this for my own protection right now. Oh, my own production, own protection. That's what I'm doing right now. So that's it. So I don't want to scare them, because these are the people that claim they're intimidated by me. We're out here harassing me, just assaulted me. These people claim they're so scared and they're so intimidated by little old me. Little old me. No, nobody's afraid? That's not what they told the police. That's not what they told the police.
That's a good spot for Tim.
So, I mean, that's good. I'm glad you said that, though. I'm glad you said that no one's scared. My lawyer's going to love that one.
No,
My lawyer's going to love that one.
Assaulted, so why would we have
I mean, your goons just assaulted me. Yeah, assaulted. Yeah, when you hit... I know, I'm so little, bro. I'm so little. I'm so little. I know. I'm so little. I know. I get it. I know. Well, I feel like I'm something. I feel like I'm something, because you guys know who I am. You guys know who I am.
May I remind you, we absolutely know for sure that the Alberts are intimately familiar with Aidan Kearney. 100% without a doubt.
But you were nervous to speak to him, correct?
Of course, I was nervous in general for a police interview. I mean, I don't know someone who wouldn't be.
Were you worried that one of Trooper Proctor's colleagues might ask to speak to your son, Colin, about what had happened on the 28th and the 29th?
Objection.
Was I nervous they would ask my son?
Yeah, were you nervous that one of the investigators in this case might approach your son to ask him about his whereabouts?
No.
All right. In any case, you were interviewed at 5:30 p.m. on February 10th, correct?
Correct.
Where did that interview take place?
At my home in Canton.
Who was present for that interview?
Me, my husband, Trooper Proctor, and Trooper Bukaki.
This is me interrupting your programming to remind you to like this video. Like the video.
You guys know who I am. I'm a pedophile. Okay. Sure thing.
He gets closer,
Sure thing.
right?
So they seem really scared.
So what Chris, from what you can make out of what he's saying, and I want you to really pay attention, if you can see it, to the look on his face. Now, I mentioned before, I upgraded and got this giant computer screen so I can see much more clearly than I could on my phone. And if you really see the look on his face, it is not a look of aggression. It is a look of fear. Not fear like he's going to get his ass kicked, but these people are terrified of him. They're absolutely terrified of him. And how do we know that? We know that from the mega motion. that is so beautifully laid out by Mark Betterow with the help of Olivia Lambeau, who has volunteered to put in all of the hyperlinks, which make this motion just read so beautifully, so clearly, and outlines a story that really is quite shocking. So for those of you that are not aware of the story that is within the mega motion, or to try to put it as simply as is possible, up until April of 2023, so from January 29th of 2022 to April of 23, the cops, the district attorney's office, and the McAlberts controlled the narrative completely.
How dare they?
Ooh.
Your Honor, I have represented Karen Reed since January 29th of 2022. I was hired not long after she was released from the hospital under psychiatric observation because she was that shocked and that distraught after finding her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, lying hopelessly cold and bloody on Brian Albert's property. From the beginning, she has faced a prosecution team that did everything they could to poison the well of public opinion. Before she was initially arrested on manslaughter charges, I formally contacted the Massachusetts State Police in writing and promised that if they took out charges against her, my client would fully cooperate. I confirmed that I would walk her in and surrender her wherever they would like me to do so. And what did they do? They completely ignored that promise of cooperation.
This was.
Insisted on arresting her so that they could parade her before the media. They got their perp walk and the poisoning of the well began. And almost immediately thereafter, no less than Superintendent-in-Chief of the Boston Police Department, Gregory Long, came out immediately in public to declare that the state police and the Norfolk DA's office had arrested the person responsible for John's death. Superintendent Long did not caution that someone accused of a crime is innocent until proven guilty. He did not caution the public to keep an open mind. He did just the opposite. He announced in public for everyone to hear that in his opinion, Karen Reed was guilty, and let's pat the prosecution on the back. That statement was broadcast on almost every media outlet.
Yes.
It was posted to the Boston Police official Facebook account. It was posted to the Boston Police official Twitter account. It was posted to the Boston Police official website. Right from the start, the Boston Police announced that Karen Reed was guilty. Now, I ask you, Your Honor, where was Mr. Lally after that statement was made? What cautionary instructions did the Norfolk DA or the Canton police chief make then?
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing.
We can only take from their deafening silence that the prosecution was quite comfortable when the media narrative was that Karen did this.
Yeah, they like that.
No request for a gag order then.
Nope.
There was only silent approval.
They liked it the old before I came along, and they could just fuck Karen Reed over as they saw fit, and no one would pay attention. And the Boston Globe sure as ain't gonna say shit, so fuck it.
But of course, that was only the beginning. Immediately after Karen's arraignment in Stoughton District Court on February 2 of 2022, Superintendent Long once again seized the opportunity to speak to the media in full uniform, conveying that he was speaking in an official capacity. He lamented the loss of a fellow officer, quote, especially under circumstances like this, end quote. It was obvious to anyone listening what he meant. Circumstances of his girlfriend supposedly killing him, because that's what he already told the media. So from the start, they controlled the narrative, and as long as they did, all was well. They had Karen Reed right where they wanted her, and with the public being told, there's nothing to see here. She hit him with her car. She's guilty. Just trust us. And they were able to control the narrative and get away with it, I suggest to the court, because they withheld discovery from us for months.
Right.
In the meantime, Canton Police Chief Rafferty was allowed to publicly state that the facts revealed by the defense were just, quote, sensational accounts.
Yes.
And they really should just trust the prosecution. Jennifer McCabe's attorney was allowed to publicly state that the defense attorneys were just spinning it and it's going nowhere. He told the world without evidence that the whole scenario is baseless. The Norfolk County DA is allowed to suggest regarding the timing of Jen McCabe's 2:27 a.m. Google search, which we can prove without any doubt.
Yes.
The Norfolk County DA suggested to the media that we may not have interpreted the raw data correctly. And then, of course, both Chief Rafferty and the Norfolk DA spokesman, David Trout, claimed that they were ethically constrained from commenting, but that didn't stop them from commenting anyway, publicly stating essentially that the defense is not to be trusted. So again, I ask you, Your Honor, where was the prosecution when all of that was going on? Where was the request for a gag order then? It's a rhetorical question, of course, because there were none.
None.
The prosecution was perfectly happy to have potential jurors hear all of this unfairly prejudicial information about Karen Reed because it would help their pathetically weak case that they brought against her. The case is pathetically weak because they've arrested the wrong person, yet inexplicably they refused to admit it.
Yep.
They were quite happy with the press this case was getting when it was in their favor, and their minions were out doing their work with the media. Of course, once the evidence, started to trickle in, the tide turned, and it did turn in a big way.
They were absolutely intentionally trying to keep all of the McAlberts' names, addresses anonymous. Brian Albert's immediately by the Canton Police Department written out of the police reports. His address at one point is changed even right from the beginning. So right from the very beginning, day one, right, remember, we have Mike Lank, who's a longtime friend of Chris Albert, longtime friend, and has bailed these guys out of trouble numerous times already.
When I arrived, I observed that the ambulance was still there. There was multiple EMTs, and I observed some witnesses also.
And at some point, the other officers who preceded your arrival, did they direct you to where Mr. O'Keefe was found when they first arrived?
If you're looking at 34 Fairview Road, it was on the left side of the property, about 8 feet from the road. If you're looking at 34 Fairview Road, it was on the left side of the property, about 8 feet from the road.
Wait a minute. So this guy is on the scene before John O'Keefe's body has even been taken away in an ambulance. They show him that John is found 8 feet off the road, and at no time does he communicate this to Proctor and Buchanan, the two lead investigators on the case. And if you could see where 34 Fairview is, common sense would tell you you do not have to be an engineer or an accident reconstructionist to know there's absolutely no possible way that John O'Keefe's body could have been launched 8 feet off the road. And by the way, in case you're still not sure if the cops planted evidence in this case, at no time when this CERT team arrives do they go onto the property and search 34 Fairview. They don't search the lawn. They don't search the berm. They don't search any place on that property. They search on the road in front of that property. Now you tell me, why in God's name, if you know that the body is found 8 feet off the road, are you not searching with the special advanced crazy, well-trained CERT team where the body laid? You tell me.
When you began the search, what part of the street or yard did you begin with?
We started where we were informed the vehicle was parked, which again was by, almost directly across from the front door of the house. And we began working south towards Chapman Street.
That's really interesting because as I was doing the editing for this, I just realized that's not at all what Lieutenant Brian Tully told us.
I kind of give him direction. So in this case specifically, I learned from Sergeant Buchanan that Mr. O'Keefe was found in an area between the flagpole and the fire hydrant. So we concentrated that area. And so I talked to Lieutenant O'Hara that this is going to be our parameters. and he instructed his people how to deploy or to that area.
Was it a search that took up the whole front yard and street of that area?
Our focus was on the street. We really didn't touch the front yard at all. We started to go over the curb at one point to see if we could search the grass area, but we could not properly definitively say we were searching it well. As we started to move the snow, we couldn't really differentiate down to the grass level.
Well, I'm definitely satisfied with that explanation. How about you?
And as far as beyond the curb area, as far as grass or the front lawn, was the CERT team members, from your observations, able to go beyond the curb into the front lawn area?
No, they're having difficulty shoveling with plastic snow shovels onto the lawn, from the lawn.
Do you know what time the first piece of evidence was found?
I believe it was 5:45, sir.
You were responsible for seizing Miss Reed's car, correct?
Yes.
And you originally claimed that that seizure took place at 5:30 p.m. Is that right?
Correct.
You signed numerous affidavits under oath, claiming that you did not seize Miss Reed's vehicle until 5:30 p.m. on January 29, 2022, right?
Correct.
At the time that you seized Miss Reed's vehicle, you were unaware that there was alarm.com surveillance footage of the area from which the car was seized, correct?
Correct.
The fact of the matter is, that was false. The car was not seized at 5:30, was it?
4:16 p.m. Do you remember what the first piece or item that you or the CERT team found was?
It was a piece of taillight. The detectives handled all documentation.
Was there anybody with Lieutenant Tully?
At one point, he had several other people with him. Maybe, I believe, 5 throughout our search. Maybe 5 different people, including him, were on scene.
Inevitably, did you or your team find an item of clothing?
We found a sneaker, yes, sir.
A sneaker?
Yes, sir.
Can you describe where the sneaker was found?
Sneaker was flush up against the curb, and it was inverted upside down.
Was there anything in the sneaker?
There was snow on and inside the sneaker.
So how does that sneaker get there? My guess is Brian Albert. Look at how ridiculous this is. Look at where the sneaker is. Oh, it was pushed up against the curb. Okay, but how many officers' squad cars were parked right in front of the house? Ambulance, fire trucks, nobody saw that sneaker pushed up against the curb? I mean, are these guys serious? Are these people serious? Is this really, like, are they for real right now?
Examine or study the depth of those items when they were found?
I did not, sir. Gave them a glance when our team members told us we found something, and then Lieutenant Tully took over documentation. I returned to my place, on our line.
Tully had it all figured out, right? Oh, it was going to be just so easy for him. It was going to be so easy. This entire investigation was on his shoulders, in his hands, soup to nuts. He's the guy directing where everybody's going. He's the guy collecting the evidence, bagging up the evidence. He's the guy in charge of it all.
So we had discussion about how much taillight we believed was missing from Miss Reed's vehicle, so that as we go along, we would know if we had it enough, or we had it all, I should say. Know if we had it enough, or we had it all, I should say.
Also remember, the Canton PD, the lead investigator for the Canton PD, the lead investigator, detective, is the brother of Chris Albert. This guy right here in the blue shirt, he's about to walk towards Aidan. Okay? And we know from Lieutenant Gallagher's testimony, you remember Lieutenant Gallagher, he's the guy with the leaf blower on the scene right after they find John O'Keefe's body. We know from his testimony that he's thought of as the best investigator, the best detective that they have on the force. So they love him. And right from the start, they figure out, oh shit, this is the home of Brian Albert. Brian Albert is a police officer, brother of their colleague, Kevin Albert.
If you weren't concerned that the interviews could be compromised by Canton PD and Kevin Albert, why didn't you just use the room? It was offered up.
Again, typically we don't record interviews. With a cooperating witness, we just sit down with them, take notes. If it's someone we deem necessary to actually have a recording of, then we'll pursue that option.
Trooper Proctor, after you knew that Canton Police Department was conflicted off the case, you continued to have a very close relationship with yet another Albert, Kevin Albert, correct?
We worked on a cold case together.
So you did have a close personal and professional relationship with Kevin Albert, didn't you?
I'd say it was a professional relationship.
Only a professional relationship?
Him and I were members at a gym together, and we worked a cold case together for several months.
Drinking, socializing maybe?
Once in a while.
Right. So it went beyond professional, right?
Yeah, acquaintances.
Drinking acquaintances, right?
On several occasions, yes.
Socializing acquaintances, right?
On several occasions.
That you were aware of and knew of, but didn't have relationships with 3 Alberts, Julie, Chris, and Colin. Not quite true, is it?
Objection.
Sustained.
There's a 4th Albert out there, isn't there? Kevin. Right?
Yes.
But you didn't tell us about that one.
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Correct?
I don't consider that a relationship. It's,
Well, let's look at that. In fact, the two of you got so drunk that Kevin Albert left his badge in your cruiser and couldn't find his gun the next morning, right?
Objection.
Overruled.
I can't speak to any level of intoxication, but I don't recall either of us being intoxicated.
Got it. So, isn't it true that on 7/20, July 20th, 2022, the day after, at 8:39 in the morning, you texted Kevin Albert, quote, "Found your badge in my cruiser this morning," end quote, correct?
Yes.
Then you texted him, "I can leave it in my locker at the gym, drop it off at your station, or leave it in my mailbox," correct?
Correct.
Kevin Albert responds, "My mailbox. Did I take my gun?" And then included a wince face emoji, correct? Have you been to the home, the personal residence of any other police officer involved in this case? Ever?
Yes.
Tell me who?
Kevin Albert.
Who else?
I went to Elizabeth Proctor, the wife of Michael Proctor's house.
Who does Elizabeth Proctor live with?
Michael Proctor.
So you actually went to Michael Proctor's personal residence, didn't you?
I did, yes.
That was in September of what year?
23. I went over.
23.
Yes.
It's funny, something happens in October of 2023 that makes me wonder if that's not what Jennifer McCabe is doing at Michael Proctor's home. But we'll get back to that shortly, I promise.
I met Elizabeth Proctor in approximately July or August of 2023. We are 2 mothers that are being viciously terrorized and harassed by social media. Things that were stated in this courtroom and allegations that were made have torn our lives upside down. We receive hate letters saying that they hope things.
Why? I know you want to give a narrative.
She gets to answer this. Mr. Jackson, the door's open.
Speaking of injustice, when are we getting those sidebars? Boy, is that going to be a fun day.
Your Honor, if she could answer the question why she went to the house as opposed to the narrative behind her motivation.
It sounds to me like she's explaining why she went to the house. Okay. The door was open, Mr. Jackson.
Go ahead.
We receive letters, we receive emails, we receive calls. People drive by our house. There was a rolling rally outside of my house where people just screamed at us. They take pictures of our children. They took a picture of my daughter and put semen on it and said property of some named blogger that I think the defense is very familiar with. So that is why myself and Elizabeth Proctor got together. Michael Proctor was not home. We are two mothers trying to get through the unthinkable together.
So you were upset about the public outrage concerning your family's involvement in the death of John O'Keefe.
I was outraged because I am a state witness that is being tortured because of lies.
Because of public outrage concerning your family's involvement in the death of a police officer, correct?
No, it's a social media witch hunt.
Man, I have seen her footage, I don't know how many times, and I missed this conversation. How did I miss this conversation? Did you see the way she paused there to try to find the right word? Because she knows she's supposed to hit certain marks. She knows she has certain statements. She's got to get in there. So she starts looking up in her mind for, wait, what is that I'm supposed to say? Oh, social media witch hunt. That's right. That's what I'm supposed to say. Nice job, Jen.
I see. So you decided that the best way for you to address that angst that you were feeling is to go to the lead investigator's home, personal home, in this case, correct?
I went to visit Elizabeth Proctor. Michael Proctor was not home.
Look at her with her eyes closed as she makes this statement. So everything in my body wants to stop and analyze this interaction right now, but I'm not going to do it. Instead, I am just going to point out the utter ridiculousness of what she is saying. Suddenly, though she was never friendly with Elizabeth Proctor before, now, in September, a month before Turtle Boy is arrested, not even, now she's going to the home of Michael Proctor, but he's not there? Right? No wonder why you're eye shielding, Jen, because even you know how absurd the words coming out of your mouth really are. And then these people have the audacity to wonder, why are we so outraged? I don't know, Jen. Why are we so outraged? Maybe it's because, oh, right, you murdered a police officer and then tried to put it on a completely innocent woman? Maybe that's why. I don't know. Just a thought. Just a thought.
Then in either September or October, you were interviewed by Lieutenant Tully. That's the report that you've already seen.
Correct.
And in that interview, you were asked specifically whether or not you had a relationship with Trooper Proctor and when that relationship started, correct?
Correct.
And you said, quote, you had never met Elizabeth Proctor or Michael Proctor prior to September 2023, correct?
I did not say that.
So yet again, this is another example of a trooper completely getting it wrong. Is that right?
Objection.
Sustained, ask it differently.
In your view, did Lieutenant Tully get your statement wrong that you had never met Trooper Proctor before September of 2023?
Objection.
Is that true or is that wrong?
Lieutenant Tully knew I met Proctor prior to that because Proctor was the one who did the initial interview on January 29th.
Does it make you wonder why he wrote in his statement, quote, you
Objection, Your
never
Honor.
met Elizabeth Proctor or Michael Proctor prior to September 2023?
So these guys controlled the narrative up through April of 2023. Alan Jackson joins the defense team in the fall of 2022. So in the spring of 23 is when Alan Jackson drops their kind of theory of the case. In that legal filing is the Google search by Jennifer McCabe. And that is in particular what gets Aidan Kearney's attention. And that's when he starts to report on this case. Okay. Now, at the exact same time, we're talking within a few days, Jennifer McCabe is visited by the feds.
On that same day that you were contacted by them, they also went into your home and actually interviewed you, correct?
Yes, it was brief.
All right. Those law enforcement officers identified themselves as being associated with an agency that is not Massachusetts State Police. You understood that.
Yes.
And you understood that they were not involved with Canton Police Department either, correct?
Correct.
Completely separate agency, is that right?
Yes.
During the course of that interview, those officers informed you very specifically, Ms. McCabe, that it is a crime to lie to them, even during an interview, correct?
Yes. There's nothing more than me calling and saying, hey, did they come to your house? That's what we did when the media showed up. When Miss Reed's private investigator showed up, we just give each other the heads up, hey, somebody's coming. Because we're just like normal moms. We're not used to this.
So up until this time, the local cops, the Boston PD, and the Massachusetts State Police, who are the ones that were assigned to investigate the death of John O'Keefe, you know, Michael Proctor is the lead case agent. The entire trifecta of law enforcement are operating to keep the names of the Alberts and the McCabes out of the public eye. They are going as far as one person, and I forget who it was, posts on Facebook something about one of the Alberts, Brian Albert, I believe, and they are asked by Chief Berkowitz, the chief of police at the time, the Canton Police Department at the time, to take down that post. So these guys are all working overtime to keep their names out of police reports. Now remember, Michael Proctor, to this point, has literally written Colin Albert out of the house at 34 Fairview, makes no mention of him at any time. And that's the reason why Julie Albert, Colin's mother, writes a text message to Michael Proctor's sister saying, I feel like I should buy him a gift. That's because Proctor has gone to great lengths to keep Colin out of the public eye, to keep him out of the house. Early April, the feds visit Jen McCabe. The defense has their filing, and all of a sudden, Aidan Kearney is publishing the names of the McAlberts, is publishing Jennifer McCabe's name, and is publishing it in relationship to the Google search. Because again, if Jennifer McCabe is Googling house long to die in the cold in the middle of the night at 2:27 in the morning, after John goes missing, is dead, then we know for sure they knew about what happened to John. Now, if you've seen some of my other videos, you know why I believe that she was Googling that, right? Not because John was alive and they were going to leave him out in the cold to die, but because he was already dead and they were trying to figure out what to do with him that might seem reasonable. So what happens immediately is a full-blown panic. Jen McCabe starts flipping out. How do we know? Because she starts reaching out to Michael Morrissey to shut Turtle Boy down.
It is the defense counselor's duty to protect the rights of the individual, as it is the prosecution's duty to uphold and defend the laws of the state. Justice for all. Only we have a problem here.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.